Knee pain is often perceived as a mechanical failure, a sign that the joint itself is worn or broken, yet scientific investigation reveals a far deeper truth. Knee discomfort is rarely isolated to the knee alone. Instead, it is a message from a complex system in which the joint, surrounding muscles, connective tissues, and nervous system communicate constantly. Every step we take, every bend and stretch, is interpreted by the nervous system, which then directs muscles to act in precise patterns to protect the joint. When those patterns are disrupted through aging, inactivity, or injury, the knee absorbs forces it is not designed to handle, and pain emerges not because the cartilage has failed, but because coordination has faltered. This perspective transforms knee pain from a signal of defeat into a signal for attention, a call to restore communication within the body rather than to simply mask symptoms. The muscles surrounding the knee, including the quadriceps, hamstrings, and the smaller stabilizers like the vastus medialis and popliteus, are the first line of communication. They do more than move the leg, they guide the joint through space, determining the angle, pressure, and distribution of force with every motion. When these muscles weaken or lose fine control, the knee bears uneven stress. Ligaments stretch more than they should, cartilage is compressed irregularly, and minor imbalances accumulate over years, eventually resulting in chronic discomfort. Scientific studies in biomechanics demonstrate that individuals with subtle weakness in these muscles experience higher loads on the knee during normal activities like walking or climbing stairs. This is not an inevitable consequence of age, it is a consequence of disuse or misalignment that can be corrected through targeted, mindful movement. The nervous system plays a critical role in this communication. Proprioception, the body's ability to sense joint position and movement, declines subtly with age, leading to compensatory patterns that overload the knee. Each time a person takes a step, the brain calculates the necessary force distribution and sends signals to multiple muscles to maintain balance. When these signals are degraded, the muscles respond late, unevenly, or inadequately. This mismatch is interpreted as stress by the joint, producing the sensation of pain. Research on sensorimotor control shows that retraining these pathways through slow, deliberate movement restores coordination, reduces maladaptive loading, and can significantly diminish discomfort over time. In other words, the pain is not a sign of structural failure alone, it is a reflection of interrupted communication that can be healed through proper engagement of both muscle and mind. Cartilage within the knee, often blamed for degeneration, is also dependent on this interplay. Unlike bone, cartilage lacks a direct blood supply and relies on movement to circulate synovial fluid, which delivers nutrients and removes waste. When muscles fail to move the joint efficiently, cartilage receives inadequate nourishment and is unable to maintain its resilience. This highlights an important principle: structural health is inseparable from functional health. Pain is often interpreted as a problem of structure, yet it may actually be the body asking for restored function. The joint does not exist in isolation, it is sustained by the continuous, subtle communication between muscles, nerves, and supporting tissues. This understanding reframes how we approach exercise for the knee. Instead of focusing solely on high-intensity strength or avoidance of movement, the goal becomes restoring coordinated interaction between muscle and joint. Each repetition of controlled bending, slow contraction, and mindful extension becomes a conversation, teaching the nervous system how to properly recruit muscles, stabilize the joint, and distribute force evenly. Over weeks and months, this retrains patterns that may have been dormant for decades. As the system regains its balance, pain diminishes naturally because the forces that originally triggered discomfort are no longer mismanaged. Ultimately, recognizing knee pain as a communication problem elevates our understanding of aging and movement. The knee is not a passive structure waiting to fail, it is an active participant in a network of systems that either support or destabilize it depending on how we treat it. By focusing on restoring dialogue between muscle, nerve, and joint, the knee transitions from a source of limitation to a responsive, resilient part of the body. This shift from fear and avoidance to awareness and active engagement is the key to reversing chronic discomfort and reclaiming functional freedom after 50. Restoring alignment through controlled motion is the cornerstone of reversing knee pain because the joint itself depends on the muscles around it to guide it through space safely. The knee is not a single structure but a hinge supported by a complex network of muscles, ligaments, and tendons that must act in precise harmony. When this harmony is disrupted, the joint experiences uneven pressure, and the soft tissues that protect it are forced to compensate. Over time, This imbalance can lead to inflammation, stiffness, and chronic discomfort. Scientific studies show that even minor misalignments in movement patterns can multiply stress on the knee by several times, which explains why pain often appears during ordinary activities like walking, climbing stairs, or rising from a chair. Controlled, deliberate motion retrains the muscles to fire correctly, restoring the natural flow of movement and reducing unnecessary strain on the joint. The quadriceps, hamstrings, gluteals, and smaller stabilizers of the knee act together like a guidance system. When these muscles weaken or fail to coordinate properly, the knee bears the brunt of forces that would otherwise be distributed evenly. For example, the quadriceps extend the leg, but if one part of the quadriceps fires slower than the others, the patella may track unevenly along the femur, causing friction and irritation. Similarly, weak gluteal muscles alter hip alignment, forcing the knee into subtle inward or outward angles with each step. Over decades, this misalignment can accumulate, gradually wearing down cartilage or straining ligaments. Controlled exercises that emphasize slow bending, gentle extension, and deliberate contraction of these muscle groups teach the nervous system to restore proper sequencing. With repetition, the joint no longer absorbs uneven force because the muscles have learned to guide it with precision. The nervous system is central to this process because movement is as much a neurological event as it is a mechanical one. Proprioceptive signals from the knee and surrounding muscles inform the brain about the joint's position in space. Aging, inactivity, or injury can dull these signals, causing the body to compensate in inefficient ways that increase strain. When motion is deliberate, slow, and controlled, these signals are amplified. The brain recalibrates, learning to recruit the correct muscles at the right time, reducing imbalance and instability. Research in motor control demonstrates that such retraining not only improves strength but also enhances coordination, reaction time, and confidence in movement. Pain often decreases as soon as the nervous system begins to guide the joint correctly, even before structural changes occur. Controlled motion also improves the circulation around the joint. Muscles act as pumps, drawing blood and synovial fluid through the knee, which delivers oxygen, nutrients, and inflammatory mediators to tissues that need repair. When the joint moves inefficiently or remains static, fluid flow is restricted, reducing the natural healing process. Gentle exercises that emphasize proper alignment allow muscles to contract and relax fully, enhancing circulation without overloading the joint. Over time, this improves lubrication, reduces swelling, and helps cartilage maintain its resilience. In this way, controlled motion functions both as training for coordination and as nourishment for the joint. There is a philosophical dimension to this practice as well. Alignment is not only mechanical but also a form of communication between body and mind. The act of moving slowly and intentionally teaches awareness and patience, allowing subtle misalignments to be corrected before they escalate. Each repetition becomes a signal to the nervous system and the joint that movement is safe, deliberate, and supported. The body responds to this feedback with improved efficiency, stability, and reduced pain. Over weeks and months, these small, mindful adjustments accumulate, transforming the knee from a fragile hinge into a reliable, responsive joint. By restoring alignment through controlled motion, the joint learns again how to move correctly. Pain is no longer the default signal because the body's forces are distributed evenly, the muscles act in harmony, and the nervous system has regained confidence in its ability to guide motion. This process highlights a critical truth. Knee pain is rarely a simple structural problem. It is a reflection of lost coordination, weakened muscles, and diminished communication within a complex biological system. Correcting these patterns through mindful, deliberate exercises allows the knee to regain its natural function and resilience, giving the individual freedom to move without fear or discomfort. Improved circulation through rhythmic exercises is one of the most important and often overlooked factors in reversing knee pain, particularly after 50. The knee joint, like many other joints, relies on the flow of fluids to maintain its health. Cartilage has no direct blood supply, and its nourishment depends entirely on the movement of synovial fluid, which delivers oxygen, nutrients, and anti-inflammatory compounds while removing metabolic waste. When circulation slows or movement is limited, this essential fluid exchange is disrupted, and the tissues surrounding the joint begin to stagnate. This stagnation often manifests as swelling, stiffness, and discomfort. Rhythmic, controlled exercises act as natural pumps, stimulating the circulation within the joint and restoring the flow of nutrients where they are most needed. The muscles surrounding the knee play a central role in this circulatory function. Each time the quadriceps, hamstrings, or calf muscles contract, they compress and release the veins and vessels near the joint, pushing blood back toward the heart. Even gentle, repeated contractions increase local circulation and enhance oxygen delivery to the tissues. Over time, this reduces inflammation, improves tissue repair, and accelerates recovery from micro-injuries that can accumulate silently over the years. Scientific research demonstrates that older adults who engage in low-impact, rhythmic exercises experience improved joint lubrication and decreased knee pain, not only because the muscles strengthen but also because the circulation they create restores the biochemical environment of the joint. Rhythmic motion also has a neurological component that reinforces circulation. The nervous system regulates vascular flow through signals that respond to movement, pressure, and muscle activation. When the knee is mobilized regularly, these neural circuits are reactivated, enhancing both local blood flow and the efficiency of systemic circulation. This is why exercises that involve controlled bending and straightening, gentle squats, or small stepping motions often provide rapid relief compared to passive therapies alone. The body responds to repeated, patterned movement by increasing perfusion in areas that have become dormant, essentially reminding the tissues that they are still part of a living, responsive system. In addition to delivering oxygen and nutrients, improved circulation also facilitates the removal of metabolic waste and inflammatory molecules that contribute to pain and stiffness. Stagnant tissue allows lactic acid, carbon dioxide, and other byproducts to accumulate, creating an environment that sensitizes nerves and perpetuates discomfort. Rhythmic exercises that repeatedly engage the muscles create alternating pressure and relaxation cycles, which flush these waste products from the joint. The result is a reduction in swelling, less irritation of sensory nerve endings, and an overall sensation of ease within the joint. In this sense, circulation is both a preventive and restorative mechanism, quietly repairing the microenvironment of the knee while also reducing immediate discomfort. There is also a profound psychological effect to rhythmic movement. When exercises are repeated slowly and consistently, the mind begins to associate movement with relief rather than pain. The nervous system becomes accustomed to the rhythm, reducing protective tension around the joint and allowing muscles to relax. This in turn permits more fluid circulation, creating a feedback loop in which movement encourages blood flow, and blood flow encourages smoother, easier motion. Over time, the joint no longer braces against discomfort but moves naturally within its range, supported by healthy tissue and responsive muscles. Finally, rhythmic circulation-focused exercises reconnect the knee with the body as a whole. The act of deliberate motion teaches the body to move in harmony rather than in isolation, coordinating the hips, ankles, and core with the joint itself. Improved circulation becomes part of a larger system of joint health, supporting strength, stability, and proprioception. This holistic effect is why even simple exercises, when performed correctly and consistently, can dramatically reduce knee pain, restore confidence in movement, and allow the individual to engage in daily life with freedom. The science of circulation, combined with mindful repetition, transforms the knee from a site of irritation into a resilient, responsive joint capable of sustaining motion and supporting a vibrant life. Stability is one of the most critical yet often overlooked factors in protecting the knee and reducing pain, particularly for those over 50. The knee does not exist in isolation. It is part of a complex kinetic chain that begins at the hips and extends to the ankles and feet. When any link in this chain weakens, the knee compensates, bearing forces it was never designed to handle. Over time, these compensations manifest as inflammation, stiffness, and discomfort. Scientific studies consistently show that individuals with diminished hip or ankle stability are more likely to experience knee pain, even without overt injury. Stability exercises are therefore not merely about balance in the abstract. They are about distributing forces evenly, retraining the body to protect vulnerable joints, and re-establishing confidence in movement. The muscles surrounding the knee, hips, and core are central to stability. When these muscles are weak or uncoordinated, the knee shifts slightly out of alignment with every step. This misalignment may be imperceptible, yet the repeated stress over thousands of steps accumulates. Controlled exercises that engage the gluteals, hip abductors, quadriceps, hamstrings, and deep core stabilizers allow the nervous system to recalibrate. The brain begins to understand how to recruit the right muscles in sequence, maintaining proper alignment through movement. As stability improves, the knee absorbs less stress, and discomfort often diminishes because the forces that once triggered pain are now dispersed across a well-coordinated system. Proprioception, or the body's awareness of joint position, is a key component of stability. With age, proprioceptive feedback can decline, leading to subtle changes in gait and posture that increase strain on the knee. Stability exercises enhance proprioception by training the brain to detect and correct misalignments quickly. Activities such as gentle single-leg stands, controlled weight shifts, and slow lateral movements engage the sensory nerves within the joint and surrounding muscles, improving coordination and reducing the likelihood of awkward, injurious movements. Research in sensorimotor function demonstrates that improved proprioception decreases fall risk and enhances confidence, allowing the knee to move more freely and safely. Connective tissues also benefit from stability-focused exercises. Ligaments and tendons are designed to guide and restrain joint movement, but they rely on dynamic support from surrounding muscles. When the muscles are underactive, ligaments take on more stress than they are designed to handle. This contributes to micro-tears, inflammation, and pain. By strengthening the muscles that stabilize the joint, tension is distributed more evenly, protecting connective tissue and promoting long-term joint resilience. Even small improvements in stability can have outsized effects on pain reduction and functional mobility because they change the way forces are absorbed across the knee. Balance and stability exercises also produce secondary physiological benefits. Improved alignment reduces abnormal wear on cartilage, which is essential for maintaining a smooth, pain-free joint. Muscular engagement enhances circulation, promoting nutrient delivery and the removal of metabolic waste from the tissues surrounding the knee. Neural adaptation improves the coordination of movements, allowing for smoother, more controlled motion. Collectively, these effects create an environment where the joint can function optimally and heal naturally. Stability is not a static concept but a dynamic state in which muscle strength, coordination, and neural control intersect to protect the knee during movement. There is a psychological dimension as well. Knee pain often leads to fear of movement, which results in guarded posture and diminished activity. Stability exercises restore confidence by demonstrating to the body that it can move safely. Each controlled repetition reinforces the brain's understanding that the joint is supported and secure. This reduces tension, improves movement efficiency, and allows daily activities to be performed without hesitation. Over time, the knee experiences less strain because the entire body moves in harmony rather than compensation. Ultimately, stability is the bridge between strength, coordination, and freedom of movement. It ensures that forces are shared across the kinetic chain, that proprioceptive signals are accurate, and that muscles, ligaments, and tendons act in concert. By prioritizing stability, individuals over 50 can transform the knee from a vulnerable joint into a responsive, resilient structure capable of enduring daily activity with minimal discomfort. Through consistent, targeted exercises that engage muscles, enhance balance, and train the nervous system, the knee learns to function safely, pain diminishes, and movement becomes confident, fluid, and sustainable. Consistent, mindful movement after 50 is perhaps the most powerful tool in reversing knee pain, because it addresses the underlying biological and neurological patterns that have led to discomfort over decades. The body is not a static machine, it is a dynamic system that responds to signals, adapts to stimuli, and reorganizes itself in response to repeated patterns. When knees begin to ache, it is often because the muscles, ligaments, and nervous system have stopped receiving consistent guidance. Random or infrequent exercise sends mixed signals, leaving the joint unsure how to distribute forces safely. Regular, purposeful movement, even if gentle, communicates to the body that the joint is safe, supported, and capable of bearing load, creating conditions for both structural and neurological repair. At the muscular level, repeated engagement strengthens not only the quadriceps and hamstrings but also the smaller stabilizers that are often overlooked. These include the vastus medialis, popliteus, hip abductors, and deep core muscles, which all play a critical role in maintaining proper alignment and distributing forces evenly through the knee. When these muscles are engaged consistently, they do more than build strength, they retrain the nervous system to coordinate movement efficiently. Each contraction becomes a rehearsal, teaching the body to move in patterns that minimize stress on the joint and maximize stability. Over weeks and months, the muscles learn to fire in the right sequence, reducing compensatory movements that previously led to pain. Neurological adaptation is equally important. Proprioception, the body's awareness of joint position, can decline with age, leading to subtle shifts in posture and gait that increase stress on the knee. Mindful, repetitive exercise stimulates the sensory receptors in the muscles, ligaments, and tendons, improving feedback to the brain. This feedback allows for more precise adjustments during movement, which decreases the likelihood of microtraumas that accumulate over time. The nervous system essentially relearns how to control the joint, restoring confidence in motion and reducing the protective tension that often exacerbates discomfort. Consistency also regulates inflammation and circulation. Gentle, repeated movements create rhythmic pressure on the tissues surrounding the knee, enhancing blood flow and lymphatic drainage. This improves oxygen delivery, accelerates the removal of metabolic waste, and reduces swelling in a way that sporadic or high-intensity exercise cannot achieve. Even brief daily sessions accumulate biological benefits, creating a cellular environment conducive to repair. Synovial fluid, which nourishes the cartilage, is also stimulated through these regular patterns of motion, preventing stiffness and promoting smooth, pain-free bending of the joint. The effect is cumulative, meaning that small, repeated actions over time produce profound results in both comfort and mobility. Psychologically, consistent movement builds trust between the mind and the body. Knee pain often leads to fear of motion, which causes guarded posture, shorter steps, and muscular tension. Repeated, controlled exercises demonstrate to the nervous system that movement is safe, gradually reducing anxiety and tension. This mental reinforcement is critical because the brain controls muscle activation, joint alignment, and protective reflexes. When fear diminishes, muscles relax, circulation improves, and movement becomes fluid rather than hesitant. Pain is not simply reduced through strength alone, it is reduced because the body regains confidence in its own capacity to move safely. Finally, the rhythm of regular exercise creates a holistic, integrated pattern of motion. The knee is not only strengthened but also harmonized with the hips, ankles, and core. Forces are distributed evenly, coordination improves, and compensatory strain on surrounding tissues diminishes. Over time, the joint transitions from a site of vulnerability to a responsive, resilient structure. Mindful repetition allows the body to adapt at multiple levels: muscular, neurological, circulatory, and even psychological. Consistency ensures that these adaptations are maintained and reinforced, making the improvements durable and sustainable. In essence, consistent, mindful movement transforms the knee from a passive recipient of strain into an active participant in motion. By sending clear, repeated signals through gentle, deliberate exercises, the muscles learn to stabilize, the nervous system learns to guide, and circulation restores nourishment. Pain diminishes, confidence grows, and the knee regains its role as a resilient, functional joint. Over 50, this approach is less about intensity or short-term fixes and more about establishing a reliable, daily dialogue with the body that nurtures alignment, stability, and freedom of movement. If you found these insights helpful and want to continue learning practical, science-backed strategies to stay healthy, strong, and vibrant as you age, don't forget to like this video, share it with friends and family who could benefit, and subscribe to our channel for daily senior wellness tips, nutrition guidance, and simple lifestyle hacks designed to enhance longevity and quality of life. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video that can help you live healthier, happier, and more empowered every day.